What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Good left hand from Rockhold. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Could I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Folks, what a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Perry on the top. Right hand from Mike Perry. Double jab. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds remaining.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship.
Way to the top.
Welcome to hour number 3 on this Thursday, our third and final live right here on the early line all across the SportsGrid network. He is Donnie right side. I am Ben Stevens. A Thursday that includes a doubleheader of NFL preseason action that we will continue to break down for you throughout this third and final hour. A ton of MLB breakdowns come your way and some breaking news. The Chicago White Sox have fired manager Pedro Grifol. We will have our MLB insider Craig Mish join us up next. And it's semifinal Thursday in the men's Olympic basketball tournament. The United States and Serbia facing off for a spot in the gold medal match. The Americans a 16-point favorite, 6-point spread in the first semi of the day over in Paris, with the host nation France taking on Germany. The Germans the favorite side in that matchup. So, Donnie, it is a jam-packed third and final hour here on TEL.
It certainly is. And, you know, we talk about that evolution of the time frame where guys get fired. Doesn't matter what time it is, early morning, late morning, we got you covered here. We're first to it here. You know, see, this is why we're a social media show as well. I have 100%. One eye listening to Ben. I got, one eye on the screen, one eye to my left. So if I'm not paying attention a lot, I'm making sure we get all the information enough so we can release this new information when it comes out. So there you go. Exactly. So shout out. Big hour number 3. And by the way, the hour number 2, moved pretty quick, Ben. So you didn't put the kibosh right after hour number 1. So, I can't hold that. Like, I think we got another 2 hours in us at this point right now. It feels good. Maybe it's the opposite way.
You got 2 hours in you, no doubt about it. You got to roll right to the money line at 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Is Kevin there? I don't know. Maybe.
Thursday.
Maybe
no, so not a solo mission. Not a solo trip, right? That's tomorrow to end out the week.
To end out the week, big football Friday, the way it goes down here. So we're living large here. We're just powering through the morning. I feel like I own a big block of the morning here on the SportsGrid network. Yeah.
SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM Channel 159. How has the change in schedule felt over these past 2.5 weeks or so, DRS, rolling right into radio and Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern?
It's been good, man. Like, the transition been pretty smooth. You let it rip. You're hot off those hot takes already, so you don't even have time to let it die down. We just push off, lunch an hour later, get a couple sandwiches, Chipotle, whatever it might be. Life is good over here in this house, and at least for 3 more weeks before the chaos of the NFL football season begins.
I'm really glad, at least for you, it hasn't impacted your diet or your fasting. I was worried the extra 55, 60 minutes or so might make you so hungry you couldn't power through. I am glad to hear something we really haven't gotten into, maybe as necessary as we should have. Really, the competition on the radio at 11 a.m. Eastern with the money line and Donnie Wright's side, and the TV side, that being Newswire at 11 a.m. Eastern with the one, the only Craig Mish. Have you received any calls, any rivalry statements made out of Mitch back to you?
I'm hearing from a lot of places like syndication, like Howard Stern could be in the works here. Maybe that 1 hour goes to 2, goes to 3 hours, and eventually takes over the entire network. That's what I'm hearing here. But the one thing we love, too, is we're going to try to incorporate this, Ben, on the early line as well. Like, can we open up the phone lines? Like, we're simulcast on the radio. Can we open up the phone lines to hear from the people at the right moments here? That's what I need to know.
I don't know if that is a possibility for us here. We'll get back to it. What happened to hashtag SG early line? That was supposed to be in this.
Yeah, you guys don't listen at this point. I got great ideas that some people don't listen, so I don't push back. Less work for me. Who says no? Not me.
Well, speaking of some hashtags and some handle tags over at SportsGrid, we want to hear from the people as we get ready for the first full night of preseason action in week number 1 around the National Football League, with a focus on the quarterback room in New England. Jacoby Brissett or Drake May, who plays more this year? That's the question in Fade the Public. Before we dive into the answers, Donnie, had you seen the question yet?
Yes, I have.
You have?
I voted. Yes, and I retweeted.
You voted, and you retweeted. That's interesting because it says, who will start more games for the New England Patriots this year? Your two answers, Drake May and Jacoby Brissett. Hashtag Forever NE. Hashtag NFLX. Hashtag or at RiseSide VP. At Ben Scott Stevens.
That's
see it now,
stuff seen out here. But like Forever New England. Is that even a real one too? Because I'm not even seeing the emoji pop up on that. So I think we got a lot of things wrong going out here. But Forever New England. First of all, that can't. Is that a real one? Because it's not showing up as if it is the emoji.
No emoji associated, but it is very frequently used for the New England Patriots. Terrible. Yeah, like I see WEEI radio station in Boston uses it. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, let me tell you something here. There's no way that Forever, like, hey, touchdown Patriots, hashtag Forever New England, just won that bet. That's never happening. So I don't know who's using that or why that's up here. Nobody is looking for New England Patriots coverage by hitting hashtag Forever New England. You know what that sounds like? You're going to, like, Nantucket for a vacation. Hashtag Forever New England, love the weather. Yeah. That's what it's for me. That's not football.
It's like
come on.
It's like their fall vacation tourist hashtag to get people there.
Get a lobster
in the greater
roll.
area.
Forever New England. Exactly. Stop.
Oh, wow. We got to bring this up because I know DRS can't see it. If you want to take a little history trip down memory lane.
Why can't I see it? What are you talking about? I'm not blind. I see it. Come on. Stop. That's pretty good, though. That's quick thought behind the process, man. Putting that up there. But shout out Ben for me having a screen in front of that. I know he can't see it. Of course I can see it. What is going on, man? Like, I almost thought for a second you were blocking it from me so just you can see it. But no, I see it right there at that point. Look at that. Ben throwing punches at a seated hearty rye. By the way, rye bread, underrated a little bit. It really is. Toasted rye bread, underrated. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know if you're looking to your right to see the monitor. Yeah. So you can really see it close up, or if you can make out what is on the monitor behind. Yeah.
They're inside the NBA, like when Shaq got called Shrek and he had to take his glasses off. But when he was real serious, he looked to the right like this because he had to see what it is. Like when I really need to be serious, I got to look this way. But I do have a monitor in front of me that is smaller. So,
listen, I still have never seen a behind-the-scenes get ready with me day in the life of Donnie Wrightside's home studio, so I do want to see that. Shout out to our graphics producer, Jesse Metzger, who was quick on that, and also the inside joke. Donnie used to own a variety of sandwich chains in the greater South Jersey area of New Jersey, so a man of his sandwich bread. That's Donnie Wrightside.
Yeah. So, by the way, we didn't have rye bread or regular bread. It was rolls at that point, so we weren't serving up the hearty rye. But again, I can't get mad. Look, when you're a kid growing up, like no kid likes rye.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of an acquired taste once you get older. So I'm a big fan of rye bread at times here to change up the flavor.
Love rye bread. Love rye bread.
Yeah.
It's hearty. It is a great
is.
piece of construction to build your sandwich on. So back to the actual question. Who will start more games for the New England Patriots this year, Drake May or Jacoby Brissett? Most of the public, DRS, in a pretty close race, but most of the public, more than 53%, saying Drake May will make more starts this season for the Patriots. Is that the way you voted as well?
100%, but I do appreciate the closeness of this with 53% to 46%. The reason being is, like, Jacoby Brissett, we do know is going to start. We are expecting whether or not either one of these guys starts a game, they're going to be bad. So I don't think the people in New England will be able to stand for week 9, Jacoby Brissett still starting on a 2-7 football team when your top 5 draft pick Drake May is on the bench. He has to start more games. He's not going to start the beginning, but when they're bad, he is going to take control. He better start more games than Jacoby Brissett.
The Patriots have the second most difficult schedule around the National Football League based on win total projections in all of the scope and analytics that we use for establishing game lines. New England has the lowest win total in the National Football League this year, 4.5. I would not be surprised, DRS, with the Patriots being a 6.5-point favorite in their preseason opener tonight against Carolina, if that's the only time that New England is favored this year, or at least close to a touchdown at bare minimum. Our MLB insider, Craig Mish, joins us next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Say the under has the correct juice to the 6.5 win total for the New York Giants. It's a losing season. It's a bad season in the greater New York area. Is Brian Daboll and is Joe Shane back next year?
As a Giants fan, what are you looking forward to? Absolutely nothing. You're hoping like the Yankees make a long enough run so you can forget about the Giants.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It just goes to show you how special this guy is, and I can't figure out why he doesn't cut through like the Tiger Woods of the world in that kind of dominant fashion in years past.
He stepped up to the tee box on the 14th hole, and he was 60-1 to win that golf tournament. You know, he was trailing by 6 shots, and he comes out on top.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Thursday on the Early Line. When there's breaking news around the bigs, who do you call on? Not the Ghostbusters. That would be our MLB insider and the host of Newswire starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Craig Mish. Joining us here on this Thursday. As always, Craig, we appreciate the time.
Of course. Thanks for having me. We talked about a subject yesterday, just to be candid.
We did.
Did not know we'd be talking about the same one today as it would play out. We'll get right to it.
We will get right to it. And of course, it is not necessarily one of the 4 bases that we had planned on. So it's technically like a trip around and then a little bit extra. As with Craig being here, it's time once again for Daily Bases.
Craig!
Unfortunate timing to have that charge right before we talk about a serious matter. Pedro Grifol fired this morning, Craig, by the Chicago White Sox as a manager. 28-89 is the record this year for Chicago. Of course, earlier this week against Oakland, they snapped that historic 21-game losing skid. So I think the question, Craig, on everybody's mind, what led to the White Sox dismissing Grifol at this point of the season?
The record, Ben. That's the easiest way to go about it here. Look, I said yesterday on the show that it was going to cost him his job. I didn't think it would be today, but definitely at the end of the season, because there's just as a manager, there's no surviving something like this. I mean, he didn't have a good year last year. He didn't have a good year this year. Good year. To say the least. This is one of the worst years ever in Major League Baseball. And look, they're in a rebuild. It's a really tough situation for him. I think when he signed up, he knew that things would be taking a little bit of a step back, but not to this degree. And like I said yesterday here on the show, certainly you can't lose this many games in baseball and be a major league manager. But a lot of past history, the last few years, I would say, with the White Sox led to this as well. So Grifol, I don't know if he'll ever manage again, honestly, but he'll be a coach as long as he wants to, I would guess.
Craig, just to double down on what the White Sox are doing here, just a few short years ago, this was one of the more promising teams in Major League Baseball. It had unbelievable talent 1 through 9, a young pitching staff that looked like they might be able to control that division for years to come. And it fell apart so quickly here that they really bottomed out. How did we get to this point with them?
Yeah, look, a lot of the young players that they had, Donnie, and a lot of the young pitching just simply didn't work out, didn't get properly developed. There's a couple of different players that we can sort of get to here, but Yoan Moncada was a player that they acquired in a big trade. They thought he'd be a corner infielder of the future. He was not. Eloy Jimenez 2 years ago looked like a player that's a cornerstone designated hitter, left fielder, 30 home runs every year, could not stay healthy. They also had a pitcher, if you remember, Reynaldo Lopez, who was on the White Sox, who they couldn't, get figured out. I know he got hurt, but the Braves, certainly untapped him too. So it seems just like a lot of player development issues with them, not necessarily putting the right players in the right positions. And I don't even know that so much as Grifol's fault as opposed to the previous regime that was there in Kenny Williams and Rick Hahn, who we talked about. They got fired at the end of the season last year, but there's no possible way that you can't look at them also and say that's a part of the reason why this has gone so south.
Yeah. So the big breaking news this morning, Pedro Grifol, of course, fired by the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox right now, 28-89 in his year plus as a manager for the Southsiders, 89-190 as the record. That's a .319 win percentage. All right, now we pick up the home run trot to hit all of the bases we had originally scheduled, if possible. Tarek Skubal, pretty good last night, Craig, in a victory for Detroit against the Mariners, 7 innings of work, only allowing 2 earned runs, striking out 9. The Tigers get a win, as does Skubal. He's got 13 victories this year, tied for the most in MLB. The ERA stays at a 2.57. That's best in the bigs, minus 260 to win the American League Cy Young as the odds-on favorite. Is Skubal going to win the AL Cy Young Award when all is said and done?
Yeah, look, for anybody who watched the show at the beginning of the season, I gave this out on day one before the season started. So I do think that this is going to happen. Minus 260 now, that's a pretty formidable bet to go against at this point. I understand last night in terms of the win, the game was saved by Parker Meadows. Their outfielder made an incredible catch yesterday to save the game for them and to save that win. So Skubal does have 13 wins. I know that, the voters don't really look at that like they used to. But this is about as big as a favorite as he's been in a while. So, yes, I think Skubal, with less than 2 months to go, has got this.
Yesterday, Major League Baseball, San Diego Padres, one of those hotter teams here, certainly looking to make a wild card run, if not even a division run, going up against the Dodgers. Profar got plunked in the knee. Do we get any results back, Craig, and what can we look forward to? Because they can't afford to miss any time. That team is hot right now.
Yeah, and on top of it, Donnie, Profar has been one of the biggest offensive surprises this season. He was in the All-Star game, and he bounced around the league the last couple of years. Remember, he was in Colorado. I don't even know why they signed him, by the way, last year. That didn't make any sense. But regardless of that, they'll hope for the best, Donnie. I don't know anything very late night last night to get a result like that today. But certainly we'll find out. Merrill's been great for them as well. You're right. The Padres are playing really good baseball, so we'll see if they keep it up.
San Diego calling it day-to-day. A positive update for Jurickson Profar, batting .300 this year, 10th best batting average in the Big. San Diego 13-3 since the All-Star break, Craig. Their divisional mate in the reigning National League pennant winners, the Arizona Diamondbacks, 14-4 since the All-Star break, victorious in 12 of their previous 14 games. What have the reigning NL pennant winners figured out here?
Probably just dialing it back to where they were a year ago. They were one of the big underachievers in the first half of the season, and now it seems like they're clicking. Corbin Carroll did not have a great first half, to say the least, but look, the Diamondbacks, we knew in the end they'd be a better team in the second half than the first. I think they're just proving that right now. We'll see also if that deal to get Josh Bell helps them out quite a bit with Walker on the injured list.
And you have Arizona and San Diego now in the top two spots in the National League wild card chase. Craig, today in Atlanta, the Braves trying to avoid a sweep against the Brewers with Charlie Morton on the bump. Atlanta a slight home favorite, but 4 straight L's for the Braves. Can they avoid the sweep today?
Oof, gosh, hard to sweep a team on the road 4 in a row. That almost never happens. I probably would have to back the Braves and go with track record and history there, but I got to tell you, I've never seen a team like this make so many moves on a daily basis. The Braves are just shuffling the roster. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The daily basis in the daily basis for the Atlanta Braves. Craig, I see what you did there. We'll see you on Newswire in just about 40 minutes. More on the early line up next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Say the under has the correct juice to the 6.5 win total for the New York Giants. It's a losing season. It's a bad season in the greater New York area. Is Brian Daboll and is Joe Shane back next year?
As a Giants fan, what are you looking forward to? Absolutely nothing. You're hoping like the Yankees make a long enough run so you can forget about the Giants.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
It just goes to show you how special this guy is, and I can't figure out why he doesn't cut through like the Tiger Woods of the world in that kind of dominant fashion in years past.
He stepped up to the tee box on the 14th hole, and he was 60-1 to win that golf tournament. You know, he was trailing by 6 shots, and he comes out on top.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
At the Olympic Games on this Thursday, semifinal action in the men's basketball tournament. The United States will take on Serbia for the 3rd time in the last month, once in the exhibition series And then for real in the Olympic opener a couple of weeks ago between these two nations. The Americans dominant in that first game, 110-84, hammering Nikola Jokic and Serbia by 26, easily covering as a 13.5-point favorite. The spread today, a little bit more, 16 points in favor of the United States, 188.5 is the total. The U.S. 1 win away from playing in the gold medal match in the hunt for a 5th consecutive gold. Will the Americans get to that stage with a victory over the Serbians today?
Oh, no doubt about it. We're looking for a nice little easy victory once again. And by the way, if they do win, is the gold medal game going to be played Saturday, I would assume, or that pushed back to Sunday? Do we know when the date of that is? Saturday. So, okay. So if they'll be in that game Saturday, be able to watch it, everybody will be able to celebrate that victory. But today, I am looking for an easy one. Also, sometimes you look at low-hanging fruit, Ben. When you take a look at some of the odds to maybe, 16.5, do I want to take that? I think they cover it. Total 187.5. Your guess probably as good as mine on that one. But from a points perspective, I like when a game previous, a guy's a good game. You take a look at Devin Booker. Now, this is juicy. To score 10 or more points on the FanDuel Sportsbook for Devin Booker today, that's a minus 152 price. It is expensive, but I think he's going to hit double digits once again. I always like to say a professional athlete that's wired in from three-point range and scoring points, doesn't the next game go like, all right, I had my turn, now it's your turn. They usually like to get out firing early on. I do believe he gets double digits, and I'll pay that minus 152 for Devin Booker to get that.
Devin Booker, the team's leading scorer against Brazil with 18 points. A lot has been made, and correctly so, of the United States' balance throughout these 4 Olympic contests over in France. A different leading scorer in all 4 victories, including Kevin Durant in the opener against Serbia that featured a perfect 8 of 8 opening half from the floor, a perfect 5 of 5 from 3, led Team USA with 23 points. LeBron had 21 in that matchup. Steph Curry, who has been highlighted a ton here to finally break out in the Olympic Games, had 11 points and was 3 of 7 from 3 in the opener. DRS, I shared earlier that Nikola Jokic, this courtesy of our stat man and producer Joe Frizo, had an even plus-minus, despite a 26-point loss for his country against the United States. That was confirmed correct. He had 20 points, 8 dimes, and 5 boards. So when he was on the floor, everything was gravy. When he left, the second unit, led by Kevin Durant, took advantage. I would expect to see much of the same today. You heard from Carlin Gay of Sporting News earlier on, too, expecting Serbia to keep the game closer from the very jump. The United States, a 5.5-point favorite in the opening quarter against the Serbians.
Yeah, we look for a good jump start here, and that's pretty much what Team USA has been able to do throughout this process here. But if Team Serbia does lose, how fast does Nikola Jokic get out of there? Does he ride a horse out of there, out of the press conference? Does he just skedaddle right away? Does he actually ride his horse from France all the way back to Serbia without even taking a plane? That's the questions I need to know.
I would agree with that. I think he's on a horse as quickly as he can back in his hometown of Sombor. Has spent way too much time playing basketball during his summer vacation. The bronze? No. Oh, good point. Good point. Would he stay for the bronze game?
You'd be so upset.
Think so. Yeah,
he'll probably so upset if he had to stay for that.
But he has no choice. So it's either win or lose. He's got another game in Paris. That's well said, Joe Frizo. 20.5 points. The points prop for Nikola Jokic, 11.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists. Bogdan Bogdanovic, 16.5 points. He did score in double figures against the Americans in the Olympic opener. You see the prop perspective for the United States as well. The U.S. 2-2 against the spread, a perfect 4-0 straight up record at the Olympic Games. Both Donnie and I thought the total against Brazil in the quarterfinal round would stay under because the point differential in the scoring flurries we had seen at the end of games didn't really matter. Skied way over. The Americans scored 122 points. The United States has scored at least 103 points in all 4 of their games in the Olympics. The first game up on semifinal Thursday at the Olympic Games in men's basketball. Germany, a 6-point favorite against the host nation, Victor Wembanyama in France. Again, you saw the total for U.S.-Serbia, 188 and a hook. This one just 156.
How about this? We got some movement, too, now at the FanDuel Sportsbook. That line now down to 5. People buying in on the home nation's home court advantage. Could that be just too much for Team Germany? We'll find out shortly.
Line opened at 4.5, moved to 5 yesterday, up to 6, now back down by a point.
Yep.
You would think in a game that features just a total of 156, might be hard to cover as the favorite. More on the early line comes your way next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Say the under has the correct juice to the 6.5 win total for the New York Giants. It's a losing season. It's a bad season in the greater New York area. Is Brian Daboll and is Joe Shane back next year?
As a Giants fan, what are you looking forward to? Absolutely nothing. You're hoping like the Yankees make a long enough run so you can forget about the Giants.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
It just goes to show you how special this guy is, and I can't figure out why he doesn't cut through like the Tiger Woods of the world in that kind of dominant fashion in years past.
He stepped up to the tee box on the 14th hole, and he was 60-1 to win that golf tournament. You know, he was trailing by 6 shots, and he comes out on top.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Paris primer on this Thursday outside of semifinal action in men's basketball. Noah Lyles looks to complete rarefied air at the Olympic Games in what is known as the double. The 100-meter gold medal, the 200-meter gold medal. Noah Lyles did not win his semifinal heat, but did, of course, qualify for the final. He was minus 600 entering the semifinals yesterday, or maybe on Tuesday even. He is now minus 330, but still a hefty favorite to complete the double at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. One of the more anticipated track competitions where you see the 100 and say that's the fastest man in the world. I love the 200 as well because it adds that extra kick. And sometimes you say to yourself, man, 10 seconds isn't enough. These guys are blazing down the path. Now you get a little bit more to watch it play through. Maybe a world record could be in jeopardy here, but certainly should be fun to watch it play out. I can't wait to watch that later this afternoon.
And Noah Lyles, known for his closing speed, minus 310. The number keeps on moving just a little bit. Arian Knighton, also the American, at 30-1. 400-meter gold medal in the women's side of things. I guess she's only hurdles.
Yeah.
Never mind. I thought that's where Sydney McLaughlin was. That's just hurdles, though, for that, because in the 400-meter hurdles, which is not today, Sydney McLaughlin is minus 470. 110-meter hurdles. Oh, Femke Bol, you're right.
I think they're going toe-to-toe, right? Is that today? Is that going to be today?
No, I don't think so. Oh, that is today.
Oh.
Wait, is that what it says on the... Oh, that's my fault. That's on the sheet. I just messed it up.
Yeah.
Minus 470, and Femke Bol, who had a great closing leg to come from behind for the Netherlands and a wonderful voice to match, has the second best price at plus 270. 110-meter hurdles, by the way, for the men. Grant Holloway of the United States looks like he's jogging out there at times. Minus 850 to win the gold medal for the United States.
Yes, I'm telling you, some of these guys that dominate whatever their athletic competition is, it's almost amazing to watch. And like Sydney McLaughlin doesn't look like she's even running all that hard. And by the time they make that final turn, it's like, I don't even understand where this speed comes from at this point, the ease that they cross. So it'll be interesting between Bowl and her if she can give her a match. But you're looking at one of the true professional superstars in their one respective sport. And that's what McLaughlin does. I mean, she flies and it looks so effortless.
It is a really good point, DRS. The USA women's water polo team into semifinal action against Australia, the favorite club at the Olympic Games of one Flava Flav. He has been the biggest supporter of the women's water polo club for the United States. So a lot of action on the track today, and already an upset over in Paris for the 4x100 meter men's relay. The Jamaicans had some issue in qualifying, are not going to be in the final for the first time in 20 years since 2004. All right, now we go around Major League Baseball on this Thursday. Not a full slate, but a couple of really great games, including a rematch of the National League Championship Series from a year ago. That's the NLCS. It was the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. Arizona pulling off the upset to get to a World Series and win a pennant. It's a 4-game extended weekend set now. The Phils took the final 2 games against the Dodgers to enter this series with some momentum. The Diamondbacks are 14-4 since the All-Star break, 12 wins in their last 14 games. -110, Arizona, an ever so slight home favorite. -106 on the other side for Philadelphia. A flip-flop of the line on the screen, 9.5 the total tonight in the desert.
Yeah, but and also you try to take a look at how this measures up because the Phillies played last night on the West Coast, beats the Dodgers late, but staying on the West Coast with that flight. You take a look at a doubleheader played yesterday for the Arizona Diamondbacks, so maybe a little bit of tax there in the bullpen and or their pitching staff, and quite frankly, just being tired, playing a doubleheader, then getting on a plane and flying back. So if we are lining this game up, I do think we get over the total, to be honest. Rudy Montgomery, decent pitcher here, struggling over the past 30 days, and quite frankly, on the season against right-handed batters. Take a look at Trey Turner, take a look at Alec Boehm, Nick Castellanos, but the Phillies lineup is starting to wake up. We already know that Arizona Diamondbacks team is lined up as well, because if you're saying, well, who are they facing? Is it going to be Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola? No, it's not. It's Colby Allard on this match tonight. Left-handed pitcher struggling with right-handed bats. We should get runs out there in the desert. I don't care if they're tired for Arizona. Those bats are still going to come to play tonight. I think we get the total and knock it down.
We've got 10 games today on this Thursday around Major League Baseball, with 4 of them in the afternoon hours, including in Atlanta, the third and final game between the Braves and the Brew Crew. The Brewers looking for a series sweep over the Atlanta Braves, but the Braves are booked as a home favorite at -130. Total checks in at 9. Will Milwaukee sweep, or will Atlanta snap this 4-game skid?
How about this, too? You take a look at hot Atlanta down there, 90 degrees bend at first pitch, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. So we should see some runs and also some pitchers that could be susceptible. Take a look at Charlie Morton on the season, right-handed pitcher struggling with right-handed batters. You should get some decent at-bats there from Milwaukee. But let's focus here on Atlanta. Frankie Montas is going to be on the mound. From a perspective of the season long, he's really struggled as a right-handed pitcher against left-handed batters. I mean, they're getting the best of them. The last 30 days, Ben, 53 at-bats against lefties, a 277 ISO, and a weighted on-base percentage of 444. But when you look at that lineup today, Matt Olson, 200 ISO power number, which is decent, but a 291 weighted on-base percentage, not that great. Jared Kelenic is going to lead off. He's got bad numbers against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days. Everybody else in that lineup is going to be a right-handed batter. So theoretically, you should be able to really hit Montas. Just throw a lot of lefties out there. They're not doing that in the lineup today for the Braves. So maybe once again, advantage towards Milwaukee. Keep on picking on a team when they're down, which is the Atlanta Braves. Having said that, typically we don't like to go over in Atlanta Braves ball games. I think you might have to. That weather dictates it, man. That ball should be traveling today down there in the Big A.
We've seen 2 overs, Milwaukee winning 10-zip on Tuesday, last night 8-5, but both teams, Milwaukee and Atlanta, recording double-digit base knocks, 16 for the Brewers, 10 on the other side for the Braves. So Arizona, one of the hottest teams in MLB at this moment, matched only perhaps by their National League West competitor, that being San Diego. The Padres, 13-3 since the All-Star break, and that includes a loss in the first game after the break in Arlington. So they've won 13 of their past 15, looking for a sweep today over the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Buccos have dropped 3 in a row, 5 of their last 6. It's an afternoon matchup inside PNC Park where Pittsburgh is an ever so slight favorite at minus 112.
Yeah, here's what we're going to have to level out. Now, just take a look at the Padres. They're hot, yes, but if we're just going from your momentum is only as good as the starting pitcher that you're going to have the next day, where Randy Vasquez is on the mound. If we're looking at the past 60 days in Major League Baseball, minimum of 20 innings pitched out of those pitchers, we have 19 pitchers on the card today that qualify. If we're taking a look at Randy Vasquez, he's 19 out of 19 today. That xFIP minus number is a minus 120. That ERA slightly over 4, but his Sierra number is at 5.09. That's disastrous here. But also, you're getting a little bit of a help if you're saying, okay, well, San Diego usually pitches to a pitching environment out there where they play at Petco. You're going to get that same environment today in Pittsburgh. 82 degrees, yes, it is warm, but a double-digit wind blowing in. So maybe runs are a little bit harder to come by. But if we're just being honest and looking at the scale, Luis Ortiz on the opposite side getting the start for Pittsburgh today, Ben, he's 7th out of 19 with a 101 xFIP minus number. But here also, sometimes the eye test doesn't pass. I just told you he's 7th on the card at that 101 xFIP, which is slightly above average. How about his ERA over the past 60 days, Ben? 6.39. So sort of you're saying, 2 pitchers technically not good ERA-wise, one bad analytically, the other one okay. Maybe you just take a flyer on the over and say, I hope those hot bats from San Diego continue. Because we're not looking at 2 great pitchers on the mound. We're just looking at 2 solid pitchers. So let's say 2 average pitchers in a pitcher's ballpark, and maybe that bails out the total.
The Padres and the Diamondbacks, because of this surge following the All-Star break, now occupy the 2 top spots in the National League wildcard race, where the Braves have pretty much been all year long. Atlanta now clinging on to the 3rd and final NL wildcard spot, a half game in front of the Mets. Both the Braves and the Mets in action today. The rubber match at Coors Field at Mile High. The Mets a road favorite against the NL's worst team in the Colorado Rockies. Minus 154, the number in favor of New York. I thought we might show you the odds. Okay, there we show you the odds. We'll get the breakdown on the other side of the break, live right here on the Early Line.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Say the under has the correct juice to the 6.5 win total for the New York Giants. It's a losing season. It's a bad season in the greater New York area. Is Brian Daboll and is Joe Shane back next year?
As a Giants fan, what are you looking forward to? Absolutely nothing. You're hoping like the Yankees make a long enough run so you can forget about the Giants.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It just goes to show you how special this guy is, and I can't figure out why he doesn't cut through like the Tiger Woods of the world in that kind of dominant fashion in years past.
He stepped up to the tee box on the 14th hole, and he was 60-1 to win that golf tournament. You know, he was trailing by 6 shots, and he comes out on top.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Rubber match at Coors between the New York Mets and the Colorado Rockies. The Rocks, the worst record in Major League Baseball. New York, a half game out of the third and final National League wild card spot, only behind their divisional foe, the Braves. These are the ones you must win. Total of 10.5. The Mets, a minus 154 road favorite in Colorado. Will they get the job done?
I think they probably will because they are the better team. But also, now you're taking a look at the standings here, Ben, and it really means something. You actually have a chance by the end of this day to cross over the Atlanta Braves, something just a few short weeks ago you never thought was going to be the case with the grimace Mets here, but playing better baseball and now moving up the standings as a possibility. Here's the issue also. You take a look at Austin Gomber. He's 6 out of 19 pitchers on the card today with an XFIP minus number. The reason why it's very important to use that XFIP minus is it does take the league into account and also the ballparks that you pitch in. Austin Gomber, an unfair disadvantage for him as he pitches most of his games at home in Colorado in elevation because his 101 is good for a 6, but his ERA is the highest on the card at 6.39. But the reason is, hey, 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs in Colorado is the norm at this point, as opposed to him pitching all his performances at Petco Park. But if we settle on and take a look at what Gomber doesn't do well, he's a left-handed pitcher. Where does he struggle? Of course, it's against right-handed batters. Last 30 days, a 371 ISO and a weighted on-base percentage of 413. That's through 73 batters. So you immediately want to line up those right-handed batters in the lineup, which Lindor is a switch hitter. He'll bat from the right side today. Pete Alonso, who doesn't have great power numbers against left-handed pitching over the past month, but still, you're in Coors. That should help. And also, maybe the best batter in the lineup, to be honest, is Vientos here. 19 at-bats against left-handed pitching over the past month. That's a 368 ISO and a weighted on-base percentage of 518. I do think the Mets win this game, but I would be confident that Lindor and Vientos probably a really good look today at some RBI action, even though we do have temperatures around 75 degrees, which is fine. Maybe some rain in the forecast and a wind that's blowing in, not out at Coors.
As you would expect, it's still the highest total on the board today at 10.5. It is the rubber match in Toronto between the Blue Jays and the Orioles. Baltimore successful last night, 7-3 victory. Jackson Holliday back up in the bigs. 3 consecutive games with a home run. He has recorded an RBI in 5 straight for the O's after struggling initially when he was called up. So to the 6 we go. It is Baltimore and Toronto, where the O's are a slight road favorite. Total at 9 against the Blue Jays today. Of course, it's Baltimore and New York tied for the top spot in the American League East standings and thus the best record in the AL. Both teams 68 and 47.
Yeah, how about this? Again, 19 pitchers on the card today eligible. 14th on the card is Gossman. How about Dean Kramer? 18th on the card. So maybe we do get some runs, but there might be a bailout situation here for the Toronto Blue Jays starter, Kevin Gausman. Let's take a look at his numbers. Over the last 111 batters he's faced, a 176 ISO, not bad. A 304 weighted on base percentage, not bad at all. Let's take a look at this because a right-handed pitcher sometimes, Ben, is going to struggle with left-handed batters. That's not the case with Kevin Gausman here. An 0.19 ISO with a weighted on base percentage of 209 through his last 60 left-handed batters. This is going to be a key ingredient in just a moment here. Let's take a look at how he does against right-handed batters. His last 51, they've been hammering him. A 354 ISO with a weighted on base percentage of 416. Let's look at that Orioles roster, which is so talented and also does very well against right-handed pitching. Having said that, though, there's a lot of switch hitters in that lineup. Anthony Santander has been on fire, one of my favorite guys on a night-to-night basis to get an RBI. He'll probably get another one tonight, but he's going to be a lefty. Kowser's going to be a lefty. Henderson, O'Hearn, Rutschman, Mullins, and Holiday. That's 7 out of the 9 batters we anticipate tonight to be from the left-hand side. Why is that important? I just told you. Gausman has been lights out against lefties, but not against right-handed pitching. Could that help out tonight in a victory for the Toronto Blue Jays? That could be one of those calling cards to look at and say, wow, I didn't anticipate that to happen. That Orioles lineup is good, but it looks like the factor is Gausman is actually pitching to his strength tonight against that talented Orioles roster.
DRS, you mentioned Anthony Santander for Baltimore. 2 home runs yesterday, 3 RBIs as the Orioles picked up that 7-3 win. Rubber match in the 6th, rubber match in the Bronx, despite this only being a 2-day series. They split the doubleheader yesterday between the Yankees and the Angels. New York victorious as greater than a $3 favorite with Luis, don't call him, heel on the bump in Game 1, with Will Warren getting the start as a minus 250 favorite. They lost the second game of that doubleheader set. Hefty favorite once again today is New York at minus 240. Nestor Cortez on the bump. Total at 8.5. What's the play in this Bronx battle?
Yeah, rain is in the forecast again, and as we told you, that doubleheader was really against the Yankees yesterday, and they ended up splitting, which you think they should have won both of those games, and probably so based on the price points. But hear me out on Nestor Cortez, left-handed pitcher, getting absolutely crushed over his past 30 days, and particularly against right-handed batters. I mean, off the charts, 72 right-handed batters he's faced, Ben, over the past 30 days, a 391 ISO and a 479 weighted on base percentage. Here's the issue. You're going to get a lot of right-handed batters in that lineup for the Angels, yes, but there are a lot of bad right-handed batters. So the question for me is, can we get a cheap price on a team total for the Los Angeles Angels? Because if they win this baseball game, I don't think they're winning 3-2. And quite frankly, if they lose this baseball game, they might be able to lose, 9-4 at this point with the pitcher they're putting out in Anderson. So for my money, it's actually the Angels and just a straight-up fade of Nestor Cortez, not taking the money line, but just saying, what are they at? 3.5? I don't have it in front of me. It can't be any more than maybe a 3.5 number. I'll take the over on the Angels team total here. A bad baseball team, but they could be able to scrape out 4 runs against Nestor Cortez.
3.5 for the Halos. The over plus money. The Angels scored 8 in the second game of the doubleheader yesterday inside Yankee Stadium in that victory. The Cardinals and the Rays today under the arch. St. Louis looking for a 3-game series sweep. Booked as a home favorite. Total of 8 minus 126 now. The updated money line price. Will the Redbirds sweep the Rays today?
Good chance of that, but you know what? I'm going to go back and take that short plus money price. Kyle Gibson on the mound today, really struggling with left-handed batters. We'll get a couple decent left-handed batters in that lineup. It is a true coin toss, but if you're just going to say, you know what, which side are you going to play? I'll take it here on the opposite side. Let's go with the Rays and take that short plus money price.
Shane Baz gets the start for Tampa. DRS, before we let you go in these final 30 seconds, NFL preseason play for the doubleheader of action we have tonight?
Not really at this point. Do we even have any individual props or just a side or a total? I mean, come on now. It's not enough to get juicy on.
I doubt we have any props, but if we have preseason props, that would be something. No, nothing on the Lions and the Giants. Quickly here, nothing on the Patriots or the Panthers. Donnie, talk to you tomorrow. Money line next to DRS. More of the early line continues.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Say the under has the correct juice to the 6.5 win total for the New York Giants. It's a losing season. It's a bad season in the greater New York area. Is Brian Daboll and is Joe Shane back next year?
As a Giants fan, what are you looking forward to? Absolutely nothing. You're hoping like the Yankees make a long enough run so you can forget about the Giants.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
It just goes to show you how special this guy is, and I can't figure out why he doesn't cut through like the Tiger Woods of the world in that kind of dominant fashion in years past.
He stepped up to the tee box on the 14th hole, and he was 60-1 to win that golf tournament. You know, he was trailing by 6 shots, and he comes out on top.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Week 1 of the NFL preseason officially gets underway today with a doubleheader of NFL preseason action. That's 2 games in 2 places, kicking off at virtually the same time, a little bit after 7 p.m. Eastern time on this Thursday. At MetLife in East Rutherford, New Jersey, the New York Giants host the Detroit Lions. 3.5 is the spread in favor of the G-Men, the over-under, 34.5. But we start with May Day. Okay, we start here. Okay, May Day we go to next. In New England, it's the Patriots and the Panthers. The Pats, a 6.5-point favorite, total at 33.5. We've discussed this game at length, and as it comes with any NFL handicapping, the first thing you need to do, are the starters playing? Yes or no? What does that mean? And then you can go roster and how everything looks and mentality of coaching staff, so on and so forth, and maybe some of those preseason trends that carry over year to year. Here, difficult to do, as Dave Canales is the first-year head coach for Carolina, and Gerard Mayo, despite his long history in New England, is the first-year head coach in Foxborough. Here's what we know about availability. Bryce Young is not going to play tonight for Carolina, trying to break through and not have a sophomore slump after a disastrous rookie season. Andy Dalton, the backup in Charlotte, but really hasn't practiced and is banged up. It's why the spread is so drastic in favor of New England. Jack Plummer, the rookie out of Louisville by way of Purdue, will take a majority of the reps tonight for the Panthers. On the other side, probably not going to see the veteran Jacoby Brissett. We should see a ton of Drake May and Joe Milton, the 2 rookie quarterbacks for New England. Of course, May, 3rd overall pick. Reports out of Foxborough and training camp is that preseason and the offseason program and training camp has not been all that kind to Drake May, taking those rookie lumps early and often. How does he look in his preseason debut? Jacoby Brissett still a hefty favorite on the FanDuel Sportsbook, greater than a 10-1 odds-on price to be the Week 1 starter for New England. And if you look at the Patriots' schedule, here's why. Again, second hardest schedule according to our lead NFL analyst Warren Sharp in terms of the NFL this year. They start on the road at Cincinnati, host Seattle, on the road at the Jets, on the road at the Niners, host Miami, host Houston, play Jacksonville over in London. That is not exactly the easiest first 7 games for any rookie quarterback to be thrust into, and with a win total of 4.5 this year, the lowest in the National Football League on the Pats. What's the rush of having Drake May get out there to take all the fingers pointed at him for all the onus, blame, and responsibility? But we should see a lot of Drake May throughout this preseason. Again, the Pats might be favored in one of their 2 final preseason games. This is probably the only time New England is going to be close to a touchdown favorite this year, maybe favored at all. I would expect New England to be an underdog in at least 14 to 15 of their 17 regular season games. Carolina an underdog in all 17 games last year, just 4-11-2 against the spread. And despite New England playing in the harder division in the AFC East and having the lower win total, the Patriots actually a slightly better Super Bowl price than that of the Panthers, 250-1 for New England, tied for the second longest alongside Denver. The Panthers have the longest Super Bowl 59 number entering 2024 at 300-1. Now we get to what could be a chippy game tonight at MetLife. The Giants a 3.5-point favorite against the Detroit Lions. Of course, multiple joint practice scuffles this week, leading to both franchises being fined by the NFL league office to the tune of $200,000. Does that carry over with the bad blood into the game tonight at MetLife? Probably not. Reports this morning that we really should not expect to see any of the starters for the G-Men, Daniel Jones or the talented wide receiver rookie Malik Neighbors. What we did learn throughout this show, and SportsGrid tweeted it out, there is also on our website a list of some coaching trends entering the preseason. Brian Daboll, 2 previous preseasons as the head man of the Giants. He is 0-6 against the number, and New York is the favored side. We are not going to see Jared Goff for Detroit tonight. How will the roster pan out outside of the starters for the Lions? You know, the Fighting Dan Campbells are always going to look to win a football game. It's about the operation and setting the tone very early on. 34.5 is that total in this preseason matchup. That's all the info you need to know. Dare I say it's a football Friday when the early line returns tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time here on SportsGrid.